This all started yesterday when I, 22F, had a date planned with a guy. He ended up not showing, and so naturally, I texted the group chat about it. My sister is in this particular group chat. I'm guessing my sister, Sarah, 26F, told her best friend, Jay, 27 meters, about it because a few minutes later Jay texted me to ask if I'm okay. I told him yes, just a little disappointed since I was pretty excited to try that particular restaurant. He said that he would pick me up at noon the next day so we could go eat there. I told him it wasn't necessary, but he insisted, so I agreed, thinking nothing of it. Well, today he took me out as promised, and while we were eating, Sarah FaceTimed Jay. When he didn't answer, she called again, and again. He answered the fourth call and asked her what was going on. She said that she was just checking up on us and told me to call her later. Later ended up being almost 8 o'clock. Jay and I ended up spending the rest of the day together, hunting down some collectible dolls we both like and trying different dessert spots along the way. On the way back to my apartment, Jay asked me to change the music on his phone. When I opened it, I saw that my sister had called him about 30 times throughout the day and texted him across multiple different apps. Jay put his phone on Do Not Disturb after lunch, so it made sense why he didn't see those notifications. Once he dropped me off, I called my sister and asked her if everything was alright. She said yes and asked if I had forgotten to call her back sooner. I told her that I was out with Jay, so I didn't get the chance, and figured it could wait since she didn't call me. She hung up, and a few minutes later I got a call from my mom. She sounded angry and told me that I should be ashamed of myself. I said sure, but why today? According to my mom, Sarah called her in tears, saying that she had caught Jay and I having sex in their apartment. I was so fucking confused. I told my mom that I did not, in fact, have sex with Jay and that I didn't even know they lived together. I asked her to give me a minute and I called Jay, but he didn't answer, so now I'm here laying on my floor wondering what the hell is going on and putting off another conversation with my mom. Update. So I'm not religious or anything like that, but Jesus Christ. Thank you everyone for your kind words and support. I don't know what to do with myself. Also, I meant to post an update yesterday, but my friend asked me to go watch the Miguel O'Hara movie with her and then I just forgot. Sorry about that. I wanted to clear up some confusion before the update. On my original post, when my mom told me that Sarah and Jay shared an apartment, I said I didn't even know they lived together. Those were my verbatim words to her because last I knew, Sarah had a roommate and Jay lived alone. I was right, that's still the case. Sorry I wasn't clear about that. I'm bad at expressing myself sometimes. Another thing was people were wondering how Jay found out about my date, or lack thereof, and according to him, he was hanging out with a few of his friends, including my sister, and she told him about it in a joking way. Another thing is that some people are asking why I went out with Jay if I knew my sister liked him. I didn't know. Just because I talk to my sister doesn't mean she talks to me the same way. If I had known, I would have talked to her about it first, because I know from past experience that my sister is a jealous person. Anyway, last night was a doozy. Jay called me back. He said he was going to stay at a friend's because he would feel safer with company. I asked him if there had ever been anything romantic between him and my sister. He said the only thing was that he kissed her at a New Year's party at midnight because she was feeling left out. Obviously, I can't confirm if that really is the only thing. He also said that he had never even talked about moving in with Sarah, so he doesn't know why she would say they were living together. After I spoke with Jay, I called my mom again. She still sounded pissed, but this time I could hear my sister crying in the background and my dad yelling to get our asses over there. Our being Jay and I, presumably. Well, as I told my mother earlier, I didn't have Jay's ass and I don't like to drive at night, so I told them I would go the next morning. That also gave me time to gather any evidence I could to prove my innocence. Jay even sent me a copy of his lease to prove that he and Sarah do not live together. I went to my parents alone because Jay has a job. As soon as I arrived, my parents started yelling at me. Just the usual stuff, that I was disrespectful, but they never expected this from me. How dare you do this to your own sister? You know she already has a hard time, why make her life harder? My dad even called me a whore. That was fun. I kind of just sat there and did the math on how much faster I would be able to finish my grad program and flee the country, or at least the state. I wasn't very tuned in until my mom told me that if Sarah lost her job because of me, that I would need to financially support her until she found another one. That's when I snapped and told them that if they thought I was going to do that, then they were as delusional as my sister. Missing one day of work because of a tantrum over something that didn't even happen was not going to get her fired. My dad said that Sarah had been missing work to make sure that Jay wasn't leaving work early to go see me. I found out. My sister also told them that Jay was missing a lot of work, so he wasn't taking enough home for their bills, so they had been sending her rent money for months. I told them it wasn't true and I showed them the lease Jay sent, where it clearly says the day the lease started and when it ends. It also had his address, which is not the same as Sarah's. My mom brought Sarah out of her room, where she had apparently been this entire time, and told her to explain herself. Sarah said that he probably got that other apartment so that he could be closer to me when he went on supposed business trips. First of all, Jay is a software developer, I don't know what business trips he would go on. Second, nice way to find out that my sister doesn't even know where I live because Jay's apartment is almost an hour away from mine. I showed my parents that on Google Maps and they finally started to believe me. Sarah started crying and calling me a liar. My dad told me that even if what I said was true, I shouldn't have been so hard on Sarah and that as her sister I should be helping her when she's having a rough time like this. I told him I wasn't a therapist, but if she ever decided to get help, I would pitch in. I left after that. There was nothing else I needed to say and there was no point in waiting on an apology. My dad looked uncomfortable and my mom was too busy consoling my sister to notice me leaving. I haven't talked to them since that. Sorry if you were expecting a fun update where I somehow got revenge on my sister or something crazy and petty. If you have questions I'll probably answer. Thanks for caring though, and those of you that shared your own stories under my original post. Damn, sorry you went through that.
A winery picnic led me back to the love of my life. However, my happiness is being tainted by his ex's homewrecker accusations about me. My partner, male, and I, female, are both 26. We recently started dating again and it has been just under 2 months, after a devastating breakup 3 years ago. We broke up due to long distance as my dad had died and I didn't have the emotional bandwidth to commit to a relationship. We never wanted to break up, circumstances at the time were just bad. So a few months ago, a good friend from school invited me to celebrate her parents' vow renewal ceremony at a beautiful hill town and they went all out with the celebration. I hadn't seen my then ex at the time and was pleasantly surprised to see him. When I saw him at the villa, I felt an instant flutter in my heart. After the party, my ex and I caught up and talked the whole night. We even shared a dance together. It was very warm, relaxing and sweet. It felt like old times. I got to know he had a girlfriend already and he had been with her for 1.5 years and I was comfortable enough to make a flirty joke how quickly he found a new girl. He was just the same person I once knew. And I was a little sad as well because I really wanted him back. I loved him still and sensed he had the same feelings for me too. However, I tried to be respectful and didn't make a move. Before the trip, I already had plans to visit this winery that this hill town was known for. I invited my ex to come with me, I know, bold move. We had a great time wine tasting and sat together soaking up the sun on the grass and had a really lovely picnic. I was drunk and blurted out that I regret that our relationship ended and if my dad was still here we'd still be together. I told him I never stopped loving him and how he was and still is the love of my life. He reciprocated that he was in love with me too, but we didn't do anything physically. He decided that he needed to end things with his then girlfriend and after some time, we started dating again. Honestly, I'm so glad my friend invited me and I met my boyfriend. I know as cheesy as it may sound, I feel that there was a bigger reason for us to suddenly meet again. I'm so in love with him and so happy we are back together. My Instagram profile is open and I posted 2 pictures in an album that showed how much we have grown. I'm ecstatic that we are together and in a way it feels like my father's blessing from heaven. However, his ex sent a barrage of nasty messages to me and called me a homewrecker. I know that we got feelings for each other, but I don't think we had any control over that. We didn't do anything physically, besides holding hands as it was getting a little cold at the winery during sunset, and all we both were, was to be outstandingly honest with one another. And we only got together after he ended things with her as soon as the trip was over. She has been contacting my friends and other people I know and saying horrible things about me. She has already called me horrible names and has attempted to tarnish my boyfriend name to their common friends who have been letting us know what she has been up to. All of this has been extremely upsetting to both of us, and I do not know how to put an end to it. I should have been cherishing our relationship and not having to deal with a scornful ex who's doing all of this for petty revenge.